do you see a situation where you and President Trump can make up? And if not, do you think you have a future in the GOP?
Well, I certainly hope that we can make up. And there's, again, I can only speak for myself. I'm a Christian, and one of the most important parts of our faith is forgiveness, and that's something I'm committed to. That's why I can easily come on your show that is watched all over the world, and I can say things I'm sorry for, and I can try to set an example of how I think we should move forward as Americans. And so, of course, on my end, I believe in that, and I certainly hope to see that happen.
Want to really see something that said, take a look at what happened.
Hey. Why this beat so cold?
We will make America proud again. And you try to kill our we will make America wealthy again. And yes, together, we will make America great again.
I stood with President Trump when virtually no one else did. Campaigned all over the country, spent millions of my own dollars helping him get elected. And I think that's incredibly important. And I do support him and his administration. And I support them in delivering the campaign promises we made to the American people. His remarks, of course, have been hurtful. However, I have something in my heart that I think is incredibly important for our country. And that is to end the toxic fighting in politics. And this has been going on for years, and it has divided our country, split up friends and families, neighbors, and it's not solving our problems. The most hurtful thing he said, which is absolutely untrue, is he called me a traitor, and that is so extremely wrong. And those are the types of words used that can radicalize people against me and put my life in danger.
What do you think happened? What do you think is the reason for this?
Unfortunately, it has all come down to the Epstein files, and that is shocking. And, I stand with these women. I stand with rape victims. I stand with children who are in terrible sex abuse situations, and I stand with survivors of trafficking and those that are trapped in sex trafficking. And I will not apologize for that. I believe the country deserves transparency in these files, and I don't believe that rich, powerful people should be protected if they have done anything wrong. And so I'm standing with the women, and I will continue to do my small part to get the files released.
Everybody is getting down and spicy and throw some little bit of hot sauce on it. Little Frank's, little red hot, Louisiana. What's going on, family? God bless y'all and your family. I love y'all now. We rocking and rolling in 2025. 7 days a week, even on a Sunday. Happy Sunday, everyone. I hope everybody's enjoying this Sunday. Well, no matter what you're doing, spend time with your loved ones, enjoying a little bit of football or however you choose to spend it, man. I really do hope you're enjoying yourself and that you are in good spirits, man. For real. I mean that. It's one love to the human race. We don't care what side you're on. If you're liberal, conservative, Democrat, Republican, if you believe in the boogeyman, if you do believe in this, if you don't think the sky's actually blue, hey. If you're one of the conspiracy theories, hey. We still got love for you, We wishing the best in everybody's life, man. But we are getting down to more of this Marjorie Taylor Greene. Because Vasco with President Trump. And how do y'all feel about Marjorie Taylor Greene? Do you support Marjorie Taylor Greene still? Do you not like the way Trump has come out about all this? Let me know in the comments section. Again, a lot of people feel all kind of ways about this. A lot of people say they held Marjorie Taylor Greene, and a lot of people, are even calling out the whole thing with Lindsey Graham and Marjorie Taylor Greene, and he's right. Just a couple of hours ago, Trump was golfing with Lindsey Graham and made a post about him and everything, and just a whole lot of back and forth saying how could Trump do this, do that. Some people are saying MAGA is dead. MAGA's not focused. Trump's not focused. It hasn't been a great week for Trump. Let me know how you feel about all these comments that you got. I know you guys are seeing the same thing. You know, a lot of people saying Trump is right. Marjorie Taylor Greene is wrong. Marjorie Taylor Greene is theater right now. You know, so there's a whole lot of uproar right now going on. And again, we're just here to report on it and see what, you know, and weigh in with everybody's thoughts. Again, nobody's exactly wrong. Again, we're letting everything play out. We're letting the chess moves. We're letting everything play out, man, as we should. You know, but me personally, I don't like the back and forth and, you know, the fighting within. You know, I think we ought to, you know, come together and get things done, man. Release everything and be very transparent with the American people, you know. But it's been a disgrace with the Democrats and the Epstein thing and just the ignorance, man. And saying claims they can't back up, dragging the president through the mud, and then come to find out it's this with this, Democrats with this, Democrats with Epstein. I mean, it's just a bunch of crap, man. And all of a sudden, Trump is this, Trump's a pedo, Trump's that, Trump did this with somebody. Come to find out it's false. You know, it's a disgrace. And I think people ought to be bankrupt out of their shoes. I think people ought to be sued out they got doggone shoes. You got doggone right. You can't back up your claim, walk your butt out. We ought to walk your butt out and make an example out your butt if you can't back up what you just said live on television. I don't give a darn. You know, Trump derangement syndrome can only go so far, man, in my opinion. You know, but for these other folks, they have let Trump derangement syndrome blow the god doggone cap off. You know, it says the Trump administration should sue about Epstein allegations. 2,000 emails and name appear everyone. The emails. This is all a disgrace. Marjorie Taylor Greene and Charlie were both against bombing Iran on behalf of Israel and wanted the Epstein files released. It looks like MTG has finally abandoned Trump. Healthcare needs to be dismantled and investigated. Release all the files now. All this from new MTG. She's literally set fire to the MAGA movement and started an amazing comical civil war. Oh boy. So yeah, man, and then there's a lot of back and forth. People saying that Charlie Kirk was holding MAGA together. Charlie Kirk was holding this movement together. And since Charlie Kirk has passed, we have just went all over the place. That's what people are saying. Let me know if you agree with that. You know, I think we just need to stay focused, man. We got the midterms coming up. Stay focused. You know, we got to stay focused, man. We got to keep winning. We got to keep achieving, you know, for the American people, for we the people, you know. America first, man. And they say America only. Yeah. You know. But let's check this out, man.
Now, House lawmakers are back, and they have a lot coming up. House Majority Leader Steve Scalise is going to join us now. Majority Leader Scalise, it has been a while since President Trump dished out one of his signature nicknames. One of your members, Marjorie Taylor Greene, just got two. Marjorie Trader Greene and Marjorie.
And y'all seen Trump posted, and the tweet went viral, and we just had MTG responding on that, and she just went on CNN this morning. We just showed you those clips, but Trump said Marjorie Trader Greene. You know, yeah, Trump has had it, huh? Trump has had it.
Taylor Brown, because the president says green grass turns brown when it begins to rot. What's going on with these two?
Well, you know, you can see that they've had some disagreements, and, you know, President Trump from time to time has disagreements with people, and he's not shy to talk about it. And you've seen over time he's made up with some people, too. But, you know, one of the things President Trump does is, you know, he tells people what he really thinks, but he also talks about what it's going to take to get this country back on track. And President Trump has done phenomenal things.
And again, that's one thing why a lot of us love President Trump. There's been things we don't like that he's done or said before, but one big reason why a lot of people love President Trump and how blunt he is, you know, how he doesn't have a politician's tongue. You know, he's going to let it out, let you know how he feels. Hell, if you think you're a disgrace, he's going to call you a disgrace. If he think you're a traitor, he's going to call you a traitor. And then he might bring you in there and say, hey, let's talk it out, but we're all right, you know. The man even forgave Elon Musk and sat down with him after all the things Elon said and everything, and forgave him, you know. That's the best part about being a Christian. We forgive. But again, we're going to have to let everything play out, man. It's a lot. It's a little heated right now. Again, I hate the little fighting that we're having within. You know, I want us to stay focused, man. and achieve wins for we the people. You know, for the Americans, people, man, we need to stay focused, stay locked in. Hell, you know, but there has been a lot of wins with this administration that you just can't deny. Look, even the left can't deny it. There has been one, even with all the government shutdown and all this crap of them sabotaging Trump, you know, and trying to spin it and make it like a Trump shutdown when we know it was the Democrat shutdown, the Schumer shutdown. You know, it's a disgrace, man. And the American people are not stupid, you know.
To address the problems that he inherited when Joe Biden was president, we saw so many problems around the world. We had high inflation, high interest rates, high energy costs here at home. And President Trump started day one to fix those problems. And he's not going to slow down. And I know he has disagreements, even with some of his friends along the way, but he's not going to be deterred. You know, he is working tirelessly. You know it. You see him in the White House. You know, he'll come from a trip overseas. I saw him the day after he came from the Middle East, signing historic peace agreements in the Middle East. And the next day he's at the White House, you know, continuing to do great things here at home. So this is a president that doesn't rest, doesn't stop fighting for the American people.
And the president has told us that he's mad. Marjorie Taylor Greene voted with Democrats to try to force a vote about releasing more Epstein files. Why do you think it is that your Democratic colleagues were so quiet about Jeffrey Epstein for the entire length of the Biden presidency?
Great question, Peter. Good question. You know, and I know how a lot of y'all feel about this whole Epstein again, and this how it's been with Democrats, and it's just been complete ignorance, man. You know, they ought to be ashamed of themselves, man. You know, for real. And you see why a lot of people now starting to agree with Trump about it being a hoax, you know, just the way they've went about everything, you know, and it leaves a bad taste in people's mouth, man, for real, you know. But we want everything to come out, no matter what it is. We want everything to be released. We want full transparency, even if the file page is blank, you know. People want full transparency, man. You know, full transparency. And we want accountability. We don't care who you are. We don't care if you're even President Trump. We want accountability for everything, man. Simple. And that's most part of MAGA, man. Two things we really want. The two A's that are like the most important: accountability and affordability.
It's a point of hypocrisy that we've brought up many times, Peter. You know, we actually brought a motion for unanimous consent the other day to bring up all the Epstein files. And guess who objected on the House floor? It was Democrats. And so, you know, this idea that the Democrats won it, they hid the Epstein files for 4 years. In fact, some of the things you saw leaked just the other day were things that we House Republicans got out through Jamie Comer's Oversight Committee. We had the estate of Epstein finally subpoenaed, and we released a lot of that data. You know, one of the things it showed, Peter, was a Democrat member of Congress texting with Jeffrey Epstein during a congressional hearing, trying to get Epstein's advice for how to ask questions during a hearing. I don't hear the mainstream media talking about that. That just came out like 2 days ago, and it's because of Republican oversight on those Epstein files that the Democrats sat on for 4 years.
A different subject, but something that everybody watching wants, that would be free money. The White House says $2,000 checks.
$2,000?
The money would come from
them teachers in my comment section saying, Rick, I'm going to pay some bills. Rick, I'm going to pull down that credit card. I'm going to pay down that credit card, Rick. Oh, Rick, I'm going to go buy me one of them little motorcycle, little small little Honda motorcycle, put it in there and do a wheelie on it, Rick. Yeah, Trump sent out that $2,000. I'm going to have a little bit of fun. I'm going to pay some bills. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. It's a lot of people that's grateful, thankful, and really will appreciate that money, man. You know, I see it in my comment section. I'm with y'all, man. Hell, I ain't lying to you. I'm going to pay some bills around this household too. Shoot. That $2,000, man, $2,000 go a long way. I know it ain't really, you know, when you look at it, it's like now, it's like, man, it's only like $2,000 is only like $200. But nah, man, $2,000 go a long way where I come from. Yeah, I go to that dollar store for the next 3-4 months. I go to Dollar General the next couple of months with that $2,000. That's my Dollar General money. Yeah, buddy. That Dollar General 5 minutes from the house. That's got doggone Dollar General 5 minutes from the house. I wish everything was in there was $1. You know, I tell you, they ought to name the store A Few Dollars. They should rename the store A Few Dollars. You know, it used to be 99 cents. It used to be what's the other one? Family Dollar. You know, they ought to name it, rebrand it Few Dollars. Because ain't nothing $1 no more. Yeah.
And not the budget. They just need one thing first.
But it's cheaper.
Well, it's something that will require legislation. But if you look at how much tariff revenue has been coming in, then there would actually be enough room to cover those checks and not go into the rest of the budget. So yeah, there would be enough money to pay for the $2,000 checks.
So before the $2,000 checks, they just need your permission in Congress. Are we going to see a vote for these checks?
Well, there's a robust debate over what's going to happen with the tariff revenue. You know, one of the things, Peter, is getting an actual quantification of it, exactly how much money has come in from tariffs. A lot of us don't think it's going to be long term because you see President Trump reaching new trade agreements so that we have lower tariffs or ultimately zero tariffs is the goal, because you get a fair trade with countries that never used to treat us fairly. So many countries took advantage of us. President Trump finally has those countries treating us fairly. So one point of a lot of discussion was to use that tariff revenue to reduce the deficit. And I think everybody would agree reducing the deficit lowers interest rates, it lowers inflation, you know, taking all of that money that Washington borrows off the table and no longer borrowing hundreds of billions of dollars in this case would actually be good for the entire economy and put more money in the pockets of families who are struggling in terms of lower inflation and lower interest rates for people that want to go buy a home, buy a new home, first-time home buyers. All of those things are things that we have been actively debating in Congress.
And there is another idea to try to
stay focused, man. We have to, man. We have to stay focused, man. I'm telling you, these midterms coming up, we got to stay focused.
Put money back in people's pockets. Some of your members are kicking around legislation that would do what we just talked to Dr. Oz about. It would stop sending money to insurance companies. It would start sending money to patients, to people, to spend how they wish. How quickly might we see that?
Yeah, real soon. And look, Dr. Oz touched on a lot of important things that we're working with the Trump administration on. And, you know, if you go back to, and Dr. Oz alluded to this, when we were moving the working families tax cut through Congress, we put a provision in that bill called cost sharing reductions, which is, I'll translate it in English. It was scored to lower premiums for families, health care premiums by double digits, over 12%, lower premiums in health care. It passed the House. It was in the bill, passed the House, and it was Senate Democrats who fought to get that removed because Senate Democrats do not want premiums to go down. They want to force everybody into Obamacare. What was called, by the way, in law, the Affordable Care Act. Does anybody really think it's affordable? I mean, my gosh, it's been 80% higher premiums on families since they passed that law known as Obamacare. And then they try to mask it with hundreds of billions of dollars in bailouts, not to families, but to insurance companies that are seeing record profits. We should not be continuing to bail out insurance companies and Obamacare. We should give families better options to lower care by things like cost share reductions, association health plans, which would work really well to have small businesses and their employees get more options to lower premiums. Health savings accounts, Peter, are highly effective at lowering costs in health care. PBM reform, we passed that through the House and it died in the Senate under Chuck Schumer. All of those are ideas that are on the table and more that we're bringing back, and we're discussing those. We discussed them during the shutdown. We're going to be bringing more legislation in the weeks ahead, all of them proven to lower premiums and give families more options to control their health care, not to force them into Obamacare at higher costs.
And Leader Scalise, really quick before you go, I have to ask about this. You're such a big LSU Tigers fan. They fired the football coach, Brian Kelly. The governor is so mad at LSU's athletic director, who's now gone, for giving Kelly a $54 million golden parachute that he gave this update about the next coach.
I can tell you right now, Scott Woodward is not selecting the next coach. Hell, I'll let Donald Trump select it before I let him do it. I don't know, but the Board of Supervisors is going to come up with a committee, and they're going to go find us a coach.
So who should
hell, I'll let Donald Trump go pick a coach. Oh, hell.
Donald Trump select as the new LSU football coach?
Look, I was at the game yesterday. By the way, we beat the Arkansas Razorbacks. It was a great competitive game. I'm floating Nick Saban out there.
Nick Saban, bro, that's crazy because I was just thinking like they might go get Nick Saban back. Get Nick out of retirement, hell. Get Nick out of retirement, man. And I think Nick just said something to President Trump not long ago. But anyways, man, let me know what y'all think of this, man. And again, we got to stay focused, y'all. And praying that everybody can, come together, man. Agree to disagree. We fight, but come together, forgive, and, get back on the right track for the American people, President Trump has a lot going on. He's had a huge mess. They've left him. He's had a lot of wins, and we just can't deny that, man. But there's been some things that we've been a little on, and this Epstein thing, y'all. I told y'all, let everything play out, man. And right now it's a lot of chess moves, and we know Trump is, hey, Trump is Trump, so you got to just let it play out, hell. But I love y'all. God bless y'all and your family. And I will catch y'all on the next one. Peace and love, you guys.